right, folks, this is Sherman Tank coming at you again with David Johnson out there.
What's happening, everybody?
I'm in Alaska and he's in the Redding area in California. So we had a little video earlier. We talked for quite a while on his page.
A marathon.
It was a marathon. We talked for a little while on his page, and so I wanted to come on here. And I wanted to change the gears up a little bit, and I wanted to talk a little bit more about how us as Americans and patriots and God-loving and you know, American-loving people that we are, and how we need to start coming together a little bit. And you know, I lived in California for 8 years, and about the last 3 or 4, I was actually involved in the patriot groups out there, and I was able to bring a lot of the groups, not necessarily into one another, but I was able to help get the groups to work together. We weren't one entity by any means, but we all still had the same passions, and we all had the same goals as far as getting the groups to work together. And we're going to have to start seeing that across the country. One thing I would like to see us do, and this is nationally, this isn't just one state or another state, it would be nice to have the same concept of how we came together after 9/11. As a national people and as a proud people, I think that with what we got going on in the nation right now, we're going to have to find a way to put our demons aside, put our differences aside, and find a way to coexist. I hate to use a democratic term, but we're going to have to find a way to work together to get through this, because it's not going anywhere for a while. So, David, your thoughts on that?
To touch on that for a minute, I saw a post today that really touched my heart, and it made me think about where we're going as a country and what we're going to be doing. And in the post, it was just a simple Facebook post, and it was from one of my friends who's probably watching right now. And he just put a post on his page that said that if you've lost your job and you're hurting and you can't get food, don't go to bed hungry. Send me a private message. I'll drop and go. And there's no need for you to go hungry. We're here for you. And won't ever mention it to anybody. Won't ever do anything like that. And that's really what's going to see us through with all this, because there's a lot of panic. There's a lot of unknowns. There's a lot of things that we're seeing. And in that video that we made, it was alarming material, and it's something that I feel should be out there. But by the same token, we need to keep our focus on what's important, and that's moving together as a country and with our neighbors, because that's the only way we're going to get through this. And
you know what, and I couldn't agree 100% more. You know, I've had friends that have reached out to me. They know that, you know, right now I'm not working and stuff. And I've had friends that have reached out to me from places like Nebraska, you know, places that I would never expect any kind of help to come from. And, you know, they're like, you know, if you need anything, let us know, you know, let us know soon so that, you know, we can get you the help you need and that kind of stuff. And, you know, that's awesome. I mean, that kind of patriotism and that kind of help coming from, you know, and this is coming from a friend I've never actually met other than talking to him on the phone. But he knows that we're all in this together. And, you know, he knows that if something were to happen, I would do my damnedest to give him the help that I think he would need. And, you know, so he understands the value of friendship. And that's the one thing that we're going to have to find a way to fix in this country, whether or not you have the same political goals, whether or not you have the same political beliefs, or, you know, you're just different in general. We all bleed the same damn color. You know, if you go out and you donate blood and you go to the Red Cross, they don't care what race you are. The only thing that divides us is the blood type. That's it. And you know what? You may be a different blood type than I am, but your blood can go in someone else. Mine can go in someone else also. There should not be any division in the country that we're living in.
Which, by the way, a quick shout out to anybody that has been donating blood and is looking to get out there and still donate blood if you can, because they're having massive blood shortages right now, and the people have not been donating, and we we need more people that are donating blood and who are doing that. So if you're comfortable, maybe have a mask or something, go over there. But I know they're sanitizing the stations for it, but they're in desperate need for people to donate blood right now. So that's a point to keep an eye on too.
You know, Mark McQueen actually said, you know, no red or blue American. That's 100% true. There is, you know, we're all, you know, whether you were born here or whether you became an immigrant and you got your green card or whatever, if you're an American, you're an American. You know, you came over here, if you came from another country, you came over here to have the same life and everything that we did. And we're seeing a lot of the things change. And unfortunately, with being in the country as it is right now, we're going to have to learn how to adapt a little bit. Many people have never gone through what we're going through right now, being stuck at home, bored to death. And trust me, if you follow the videos on YouTube, TikTok, and all these other video sites, there's a shit ton of bored Americans out there.
I will say there is some quality content being created, Rick.
Oh, there is. I will not. I think personally, I think that this kind of event should pull us all closer together, because we're all going through the same crap, right? We're all going through withdrawals, for one, from being out and being able to hang out with people. This should bring us closer together, not divide us further apart. I've seen a number of Facebook posts. I've actually been involved in a few of them. I had one today actually, where you know I posted my opinion on something, and it was strictly my opinion. You know, there wasn't any fact base in it at all. And you start going through the threads, and then next thing you know, you start seeing people calling people names, and it's like, dude, I'm friends with all you guys. Chill the fuck out. You know, it's like I put something on there to make people think. I didn't put it on there to make people fight. And next thing I know, I've got 3 or 4 people ganging up on one guy, or I've got 2 or 3 people defending me, and it's like, you know what? Calm down. It was an opinion, and it's how I seen things, and it's like, dude, chill out. You know, we have to find a way where if we can't say anything, don't say anything. If we can't say anything nice, or we can't say anything decent, don't say it. You know. And you end up getting people worked up, and it's, you know, my wife has grounded me kind of, you know, back 10 years ago or before I met her, I would have gone off the handle on a lot of stuff. And with her being in my life, her favorite thing to tell her kids is use your words. You know, don't use your fists, use your words. And if those don't work, then you can go to your fists. But you know, we have to stop fighting one another if we're ever going to get to move forward. You know, if you're going on a journey and all of a sudden you end up fighting each other, now your journey is stopped, and now you're in the middle of fighting somebody. So we have to keep the journey moving forward, regardless of the situation, rather than stopping, you know, for a pit stop and beating the crap out of each other or beating each other down. So, you know, and this goes to everybody, not just certain groups. This goes to everybody in the country. We're going to have to start working together to get through this. And I tell you one thing that I like about Alaska is Alaskans are kind of a different breed of people. For one, you got to be a little different to live up in Alaska because it's cold and it's dark in the winter, and you know, it's awesome in the summertime. But for the most part, you know, when people are hurting up here, other people try to pitch in. And, you know, I have some great friends up here. My best man in our wedding lives up here, and his wife and his 3 kids and their 2 cats, and they're like 6 chinchillas. And I know about everything there is to know. They got a house right after we did. And, you know, I try and stay in close contact with them, probably not as often as I'd like to. But now that we've been separated, I really feel that that void. I bowled with a guy every Friday night, so you get used to hanging out with someone. And now the last 3 Fridays or 4 Fridays, we haven't had that. And you really start to feel that void. And, you know, the only thing that you can do is call and talk to him on the phone, or you see him on pictures and videos and stuff like that. And it sucks. But what I was gonna go, and I got kind of sidetracked on that. But what I was gonna say is, we went to the grocery store today, and they issued the governor here, Dunleavy, which is actually a really good governor. He's doing the best he can with what he has to deal with our Democratic legislature. Issued a thing where he said, you know, you need to start wearing your masks and stuff when you go out. So we did. We put our masks on. We go out there, and this is the first day, honestly, that I seen other Alaskans wearing their masks. I've seen it a few times, but today probably I'd say half the people in the grocery store had masks on. And
were they wearing them right though?
Yeah, no, they were. Everybody was good. Everybody was good. A lot of them were the homemade cloth ones. Everybody had their noses covered and their mouths covered. And my first, and of course we wore ours too. My first thing was, you know, I don't think that they were doing it so much to obey what Dunleavy said, because I know a lot of Alaskans. So I think it was more of them respecting one another. That's how I seen it. I think that's how my wife seen it. You know, I'm wearing this to protect you. I'm not doing it to protect myself. I'm doing it to protect you in case I sneeze or I cough or, you know, I'm spitting or whatever. I'm doing it to protect you. And I think there's kind of a universal thought with that, because you'd see someone in a mask, you'd walk by somebody with a mask, and you would actually make eye contact. I've seen that 4 or 5 times today in the store, and I thought that was great. You know, normally you kind of go with your heads down, and it was either that or they were really checking out my cool mask. I'm not real sure. I'm hoping that it was that they were needing, you know, human contact as well, but maybe it's because I had a cool mask. I don't know. But you've seen people that were practicing the social distancing. They weren't getting, you know, everybody was kind of giving each other a little extra room. And now in our store, there's these markers on the floor when you go up to check out. You're supposed to not go past those markers when someone's up there. And they've got new, I don't know if they're doing this in California or where you're at, David, but they've got plexiglass now in front of the checkouts.
Yeah, they've got the exact same thing here. The mark's about 6 feet distance away, and then up just a ways, you've got the plexiglass in front of it. And in fact, they're even going the next step. A lot of the gas stations that I've been seeing, they've built entire glass areas around the gas station. So now it's like you go into one of the seedy locations in an area you don't really want to go to in a liquor store. And it's got the little window where you can hand your money through. And there's a lot of that that's around. And it's interesting because here there's, at least in the location that I'm at, I'd say probably 90% of the people are not wearing masks still. But there also seems to be a fear about people wearing masks, and it still seems to be like there's a lot of people that are concerned and worried if you're wearing a mask you might be infected or a carrier or something like that. And I think a lot of that needs to dissipate, because I know, like you're saying, when I'm going out, I'm mainly wearing the mask to protect my family and to protect my parents. My parents, they haven't gone out aside from to pick up a few things with the pickup from Walmart orders. And then they'll just turn around and have it loaded into their truck and go home. And that's basically where we're at right now. But same general concept as what you're saying.
Yeah, and you know, I was talking about this to my buddy that's an EMT, or an ex-EMT, I should say. And we were talking about, you know, the next way that they're going to try and divide the population. And in many ways, they've already tried to do that. And to give you some examples on that, and this is why we have to, as Americans, have to stay strong for one another, because eventually they're going to start separating us out into different, in many ways they already have, but they're going to continue to keep trying to split us apart. And one of the ways that they can do that is by blood type. They've already come out the last week or 2 weeks ago and mentioned that certain blood types are more susceptible. I
believe it was type A, if I'm not mistaken.
And type O and so forth and so on were a little less susceptible. Well, I'm type O negative, so I mean, for one, I'm like a giant spigot for everybody because I can donate to anybody. My wife's O positive, so she can donate to everybody but me, and you know, so we're like a kegger. If somebody needs us, they could just put a needle in us, and we could just pump all the blood into everybody. But
yeah, my wife and I, we're both O neg, so you and me, we need to party up in the zombie apocalypse.
Well, and you know, that's a good thing for us if that's the case. You know, we may not be susceptible to it, but There's other things that they're going to start doing. They're going to start coming out with physical traits. If you got certain diseases, if you got diabetes or you got COPD, and we all know that if you've already got problems breathing, that this isn't a good virus to have.
Yeah.
So eventually they're going to start coming up with ways for people to point their finger at someone and say, okay, that guy looks like he's infected. I don't want to be anywhere around him. And then next thing you know, you're getting the cops called on you and all kinds of stuff. And
Well, and now they've actually come out with some stuff too that I've seen that they're coming up with screening measures that you can put something on the lungs and listen to the lungs for like 3 to 5 seconds, and you'll know relative whether or not they have a breathing condition, and they're screening people that way in other countries.
yeah, I could see that. And I'm waiting to the point. I'm waiting to see to the point when, like, we have businesses and stuff where they're not going to allow anyone to go in unless they had their temperature checked. And
Hmm.
the way that they'll do this, of course, is they have these new laser temperature reader things, and they'll scan your forehead. And if you're not in a certain range, they won't let you go in.
Yeah,
And
we're already there to some extent. Walmart nationwide just released that they're going to start having temperature checks on all their employees prior to the employees coming into work that day. And the thing that I'm still surprised that I'm not seeing at any of these places, I mean, we're seeing the plexiglass and we're seeing things like that, but I'm still not seeing any businesses that are going through and disinfecting the keypads that you're utilizing to type in for these things. I'm also gas stations and gas pumps. There's still nobody that's disinfecting those or handles or anything.
I know that here, there have been a few places I've been in. I haven't been too many places in the last, 3 weeks, but now that my Jeep is getting, like, what were they saying that? I seen something posted that was pretty funny. I'm getting 3 weeks to the gallon now. So that should tell you that I'm not going very far. But anyway, I've been in a few places where they've actually put like a plastic covering over the keypad on your credit card thing, and they've got rip off. Um, you can use it. Once you touch it, then the person running the counter or whatever can rip off a sheet. And I don't think that they do it every time, but I think after a certain amount of times they can rip off the sheet, and there's a fresh one underneath of it.
That's
So
cool.
yeah, and I think that that's probably where we're going to eventually go to. I know there's a lot of talk where they want to. Some countries are talking about chipping people, which I think I would probably die first before that would ever happen to me.
Bet
Um,
your ass.
yeah, that's a tracking device that I don't think any of us want. It's bad enough we're
Mm-mm.
carrying around a tracking device in our pocket every day, uh, and for me on my wrist, and who knows what they put in me whenever I had surgery, like 5 times. But I think it's important that we come together as Americans and we treat this like 9/11, like we were attacked, because whether or not this was an intentional attack from another country or not, we're still being attacked by a foreign invader.
Hmm.
You have to look at it like that, because we don't know where the attack's going to come from. We don't know when we're going to get attacked. All we can do is go out and be careful and try not to catch us ourselves. We're going to have to try not to get our families and our friends infected. So, I think that as Americans, we need to treat this like it's an attack from an outside country, essentially.
Hmm.
There's a lot of people that don't believe that it's real. I think it's real, but I don't think it's as blown up as the media makes it seem. With that said, people are dying. We know that. Whether or not that many people that they say are dying or not, that remains to be seen. There's been a lot of evidence pointing, that it's BS. But the thing is we're getting so much different disinformation from every media source and from other people out there that's on the ground. And what do you believe?
Well, and a lot of it too, it's the old saying, "Idle hands are the devil's playground," and that goes true doubly so for your mind once you end up having all of this information that's out there, and you go through and you start thinking about all the different things that could be and could potentially would be, and you stress yourself out, no doubt about it.
Well, and what do we have now more than we've had in years? we have time, right? We
Mm-hmm.
have time to let our mind go to places that they shouldn't go, right? Where we're not working, we're not thinking about stuff that we would normally be thinking about. We're thinking about where's my next paycheck coming from. We're thinking about where's the next meal going to come from. Um, there's a lot of things that we're thinking about, and we have a lot more time to do that. And I know for me and Angela, we haven't been going to bed till now till like 2-3 o'clock in the morning. There's been a few mornings where I've actually been awake when my friends on the East Coast are waking up. So I haven't done an early morning video. Maybe I should. I don't know. But essentially, I guess what I'm trying to say here is if we can't come together, and I have a lot of friends in this country, and a lot of them are some Democrat, some Republican, mostly Republican, thank God. But the ones that are in their right mind. But the fact of the matter is both sides hate our government right now. The left hates our government because Trump is running it. The right hates our government because every time we turn around, they're screwing the American people. So we hate the government for different reasons, but totally, we both sides hate the government. So now, if we were ever to do something about that, we're going to have to find a way to work together, or it'll never happen. It's a big pipe dream. So,
Well, and I feel like there's a lot of these places to where we could bridge the gap and bridge the divide, because between Republican and Democrat, both sides agree we need to have term limits. We got people that we don't like, and they got people that they don't like. And no matter what, we're going to end up with better legislation if we get the people out of there who have already been bribed long ago and are already in somebody's pocket. And so instead of having these people that can be in there for as many terms as they want, make it to where you're in there for a set amount of time, and that's all you've got. Because otherwise, these people are just stacking up all their retirements from each consecutive term and all their different packages, and that stuff goes with them. And you can continue to run and stack each one after every 4 years, and next thing you know, you've got 18 retirements. Congratulations.
well, and the thing is too is I think that if they were ever to install term limits, and this is the one thing that I agree with you on, but it's in the Constitution. That's a lifetime appointment, or you can be in there, as long as you're winning, I guess. But the term limits need to be set up to where it's an off. Like if you got a president, right? He's in there for 4 years. You need to have it on off. The elections and stuff need to be on off times from whenever you're voting for the president, not the same years. So, so that way, like every 2 years or it'd have to be in the middle somewhere in there, because that way the president would have to work 2 years with each Congress, I guess is the best way to put it. And that way you don't end up having the same crap keep coming up, and you're not going to give the Senate and the House a chance to write a bill, put it up, find out what the consensus is, and then take that same bill back and then rewrite it again. I think that that's one of the biggest mistakes that our legislatures can be doing, because that's let me re-put that. Let me rephrase that. I think that us as American people should not allow them to be able to do that, because that's how they slip stuff in midnight, and that's how they slip stuff in without us seeing it. Is they'll write something and they may not get public support for it, so then I'll take it back down instead of voting for it. If it goes that far, it needs to be voted on. That way it can be completely dismantled. What happens, for those who don't realize it, is you'll get someone that'll write up a bill, and they'll feel for the public support with it. If they don't think they can get it, they'll take that bill back out, and then they'll shelf it for a while, and then they'll keep what they wanted in it, and then they'll change it to where now it sounds a little more appealing, and then they'll put it back up. It'll get voted in, and they'll slip it through with the same crap that didn't get public support. So I think that that's villainous, I guess is the best way to put it. I think that that's a really bad way of doing business for the country. And until there's something out there that kills bills like that, I think that we're going to continue to keep seeing the problems, whether or not we have term limits.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing that I'd like to see happen personally is I'd like to see that we end up making it to where they can't have these bills that are several hundred pages long and they can't turn around and have 4,500 things that are within that one bill. And the last thing I'd want to see on it is no more of this legalese shit. The bill needs to be written in layman's terms to where the public can understand it without a law degree.
Well, I'm going to stop you right there. I 100% agree with you on that. And here's the thing: when Trump was in there, when Trump first got in, he did an executive order on something just like that. And he basically, so what he did, one of the things he did was by executive order was any bill that's going to be passed, for every one, two other ones had to go away. But in part of that, there was supposed to be something in there that was supposed to make the Senate and the House or whoever it is writing the bills, that they're supposed to be in terms that the American people can understand. If you read some of the crap now, it sounds like you're reading Shakespeare.
Yeah.
So it needs to be, the language of these bills need to be brought more current so that the American people that may not have a law degree can read the damn things.
Well, and also a lot of these bills are written with such vagueness that it actually causes more problems than it's worth because of how vague the bills are. You make something illegal with vague terms, and next thing you know, millions of people a day are committing a felony or committing some problem they didn't even have any understanding about. A perfect example of this is the legislation that's surrounding the IRS. There was a book written not too long ago with the title of 3 felonies a day, and that's the average that the average American commits without even realizing it.
Yep.
And we're at a place to where we're getting more and more of this legislation, and just like this bill we were talking about earlier for this stimulus package, when Nancy Pelosi came off of whatever mountain she was talking to Moses on and came back down, she had a legislation crap that was 2,000 plus pages long that finally got refined to a mere 1,400 and then down to 800 once it went into legislation. But you're talking 800 pages for a legislation bill that was written in 2 weeks. You're going to tell me there's not going to be mistakes in that?
Well, not only that, but how many of those things that were in there were already written up as a bill for something else that didn't have anything to do with the coronavirus, but yet they picked it up off a shelf and said, you know what, this sounds good, we'll throw this in there.
Copy paste wish list.
Pretty much. And in Pelosi's own words, we have to pass the bill before we can read it. So that kind of goes to show you the level of both insanity and stupidity that we have elected as our elected officials. We have to, as the American public, have to start being smarter about who we put in those big white buildings in Washington. And part of coming together would include that.
Well, how about this for a fact? Why are we allowing these individuals to have ghostwriters write these bills?
Yeah,
we elect these people, but they don't actually write these bills. AOC was a prime example of her Green New Deal when she goes, oh, well, that was just something that was pinned up and that wasn't me and I didn't write that. And you look at it and it's like, well, we elect these people, and I guarantee you there'd be a lot less pages if you made them sit their fat asses down and actually write the bills themselves.
Oh, that's for damn sure. Well, could you imagine seeing AOC behind a typewriter? Sorry, but that's a funny thought myself.
I think it would be a keyboard though, not a typewriter, unless you're Tom Hanks or Madonna. They actually go around with their Corona typewriters.
Well, maybe they have something in Washington that we don't have. Maybe they have some kind of a thing that I bet what they do is they probably have recordings or something to where they'll record what they want by voice, and then the person working for them, their aides and all this other crap, actually put this on paper. Because they're not doing it. We know for a fact that they're not doing it. Pelosi spends more time behind her bar in her airplane than she does sitting in Congress anyway. So, I don't know. I think that the American people have a reason to come together with this whole thing. I think that they have we have a stronger will than most countries because we've survived for as long as we have. But I think that what's happened over the last, well, since 2011, or sorry, since 9/11, is I think that we've gotten lazy. We've given up so much without even really noticing it, and we're starting to notice it because now there's things that are happening that we don't want to see happen. I think there's some goods and bads about this whole situation. The goods are now the people on the left that that want gun control are now finding out just how hard it is to buy a gun through a store. They can't just simply go online and buy a gun and get it sent to their house. And same thing in California with the ammo. You can't just simply go down to the store and buy ammo now.
One of my favorite videos right now on YouTube and on Facebook that's circulating is a gun owner. They're a gun shop owner that was talking about all the first-time gun buyers that were coming in who think that they can just pick up their gun the same day or pay more money and be able to do it, or aren't there gun show loopholes that I can turn around and get this with? Where can I go?
Right. Well, there's a guy that makes videos. His name's The Man Spot. If you're not subscribing to him, you should, because he portrays a few times in some of his videos. He portrays leftists going in and buying their first gun, and his videos are funnier than hell. You got to watch him. He makes a lot of fun of, I hate to say it, but Californians, but not the gun loving Californians. I've actually met the guy. He's a cool dude. He makes fun of, the new guys that are going in and buying a gun for the first time, and just the way he does it and everything else. So he makes videos advertising for gun shops, advertising for different things here or there. That's how he makes his living. But great dude. Anyway, so we've gotten lazy as Americans, and by saying that, what I mean is we're not holding our elected officials accountable. And you can do that at the ballot box. We can do that in person. Right now we can't because we can't go to anything, but once this all comes out and we're finally released and we've hit our quota for staying inside for the year, you'll be able to go out and say what you got to say. But I would hope that the American people see the sham that the people in Congress and our elected officials in our states see the farce that these people have pulled over on us, and you elect better officials in the long run.
I'll touch on this too from a standpoint of what I've been seeing is Trump's a good dude. I think he loves America, and I think he wants the best for us. Is he right all the time? No. Does he have a big mouth? Yes. Is he funny sometimes because of it? Yes. Besides that point, we're putting way too much trust in an elected official that actually has no capabilities to do half of the crap we want him to do. Because we're getting all excited about the presidential elections. Trump's going to fix everything. Really what we're seeing right now is we need to be more involved. We need to get out there and we need to start doing our research. We need to get these snakes like that guy in Texas, the little eye patch bastard. We need to get his ass out of there, and we need to get people in there that are actually going to support the Constitution, support the United States as it was written up and pinned. And we need to focus on that because the president can't do crap. His hands are tied. At the end of the day, he is doing a good job of not writing executive orders. And a lot of people on both sides were expecting him to write executive orders, but executive orders are not going to fix anything. An executive order by this president can be undone by the next president, as we saw with Trump. Trump, the very first thing he did, his only executive orders were executively ordering all the executive orders of Obama to be gone.
Pretty much.
So that doesn't solve your problem. You've got to enact this through the House. You've got to enact it through Congress. And then finally, you've got to have a good president. And we all need to start paying more attention to all of these positions because they're the ones that are going to end up affecting us the most. Take a look at our governor in California and how much he's done bad for our state. Take a look at the 213 bills right now that are on the docket for new gun laws in California when we already can't purchase a handgun. I sent Tank something the other day that was an April Fool's joke, and we were both kind of stunned by it from a standpoint of, at first we both thought it was real just because we believed the madness.
Well, it was believable enough for that state, for damn sure. No, I agree.
What it was, the April Fool's prank on it was that they're going to require a waiting period of 10 days between when you purchase a handgun you can take home after the initial waiting period. You can take home the gun, but you can't take home the barrel for an additional 10 days.
Right.
I'm just over here like, oh my God, this is what our state is coming to. And we believed it from the standpoint until we saw it was a prank, but that's how crazy we've gotten. And when you look at some of these new bills, they really do read that crazy.
Yeah. It's well, and the thing is, like with California, what they've done, I think Facebook cut my feed, by the way. I was watching it and it just froze up and it hasn't come back on. So I'll keep going because it's probably still going on Periscope. But anyway, no, what they do in California is they pass so many bills. Their whole goal is to make everybody out there so confused and so upset about everything that they just give up and quit. That's their whole goal. You know, they literally pass like 3,000, 4,000 bills a year, and half of those are gun bills.
Well, one of the things that I feel would solve a lot of problems and initiate a lot of blowback for these bills is if we could get a bill going that would make it to where any unconstitutional bill that is passed and shot down in court, the lawyers that fought the case against the unconstitutional bill are going to get 4 times the amount that they put into it. So it's going to be a gold mine for lawyers to start going after unconstitutional bills. And that's the only way to protect our country. You'll start seeing a lot more people that'll turn around and say, yeah, we're not going to back this bill because it's unconstitutional and it's going to cost our state money. And we're not going to have the funding to be able to continue doing these things. Yeah, I'm seeing I'm looking a little weird on your thing.
Yeah, everything's shifted to one side.
See, there you go. I moved over slightly.
Well, I think we covered about everything I wanted to cover. I only wanted this to be about a 20-minute video. We're going on about 40. So I'm starting to get
such is the case. I know my video I was trying for 20 minutes and we ended up going just about 2 hours and 5.
I'm starting to get a little hoarse after doing yours and doing mine. So but hey, out there, Facebook land, Periscope, everybody else, do me a favor. I asked a question. I'm looking for a new name. I do want to start running a new podcast, and I want to get more people doing this kind of stuff. So, reach out to me and David, and we can get you set up with OBS and the programs that we use to do this kind of stuff. They're fun to do. It gives you something to do, especially if you're not working, if you've got a computer. And all you need is a computer, a webcam, and a microphone. That's basically all you need, and a keyboard.
And one of the challenges, too, that I'd actually like to put out, I haven't had a chance to talk to you on it, but I want to bridge the gap more. I want to get more people outside of our realm and outside of our thought processes, because there's enough people out there that have good ideas that don't share our opinions, that I think we should be talking with and be in that place that's the conversation starters and the polls. So if you want to come on and you don't agree with us, as long as you want to come on and hang out, turn around and have a conversation that's civil and get your points and kind of debate back and forth, that could be fun and entertaining and a good way to share your information with all of us and have us share our thoughts with you, and maybe we'll both come away thinking something new.
I agree with that, but you said the operative word right there, and the key word is civil. Okay, if you can't come on and have a civil conversation, I don't want you on. I don't need to have a fight on Facebook or on my show when us as adults need to learn how to use our words. No name calling, none of that kind of stuff. I would agree with that.
And the fuck word is not a common word to use in a conversation. Unless you're talking about the government.
If you plan on coming on my show and using your vagina to scream at the earth, you're not welcome. That's all I gotta say. But anyway, I want people to try and help me come up with a name for the show. The one that I like the most so far is the Think Tank. I think that's a cool one. I may go with that. So we'll see. But anyway, if anyone wants to come on and come on my show or David's show or anything like that, reach out to us. We wouldn't mind having you. And the only thing you got to do is call us on Skype. It's not hard to do. We take care of everything else. You just sit there in front of your phone or your computer and talk to us. That's about it. It's not hard. And even if you wanted to call us and not be on video, we could even still accommodate. So that's about all I got, man. I'm gonna have to go up and get something to eat and get something to drink because I'm about to start talking like this.
Hey, don't talk like that too much. People might think you have corona.
No, I'm not coughing yet, so we're good.
Good.
Anyway, folks, I love y'all. We'll catch y'all later. And I'm going to start doing these a little more often. I want to start doing at least 2-3 a week at least. So definitely start tuning in and we'll see what we can do. This is Sherman Tank and this is David Johnson, and we're out for the night. Peace out.